Hi, Lauren. Thanks so much for coming and joining me on this little pod chat. Are you able to just introduce yourself and tell us a bit about you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on today. My name's Lauren Jennings. I'm 28 years old from Essex, and I am the current Miss Essex, and I'm also still competing in pageants. I've been competing in pageants for about 2 years, and I love skincare, makeup, just everything.
Yeah. And are you diagnosed with ADHD, or do you just suspect you have it?
So I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 25 years old, and I've been sort of using my platform and my advocacy to really speak about my own personal experience, lived experience, in hopes to help someone else. When I was first diagnosed with ADHD, I sort of had to take a step back, and I felt like I was grieving a little bit for my past self because I didn't know for the majority of my life. So I wanted to help other people that are in similar situations sort of know that they're not alone.
Yeah. Did you go through the private sector or the NHS in getting your diagnosis?
So I was really fortunate, actually, because I went through the NHS route. Now, it did take a little while, but I did go through the NHS route. And I know that right now it's quite difficult to get an NHS diagnosis for ADHD, particularly within certain areas. So it feels a bit like a postcode lottery sometimes. One part of the country might be 1 year wait, and then another part might be an 8-year wait. So at the time I was diagnosed when I was 25, I was very fortunate.
My daughter went to the doctors when she was about 17. I mean, it's only a couple of years ago, and she just explained what her symptoms were. And they said, oh, we think it's more on the autistic spectrum. So she must have waited about 18 months to go through the whole system. And when they got to the very end of it, she was diagnosed with something called social communication disorder. So it come under the umbrella term of autism, but they also suspected that she's got ADD. But they said because it was like a whole different thing, she would have to go back to the doctors and go back through the system again, which she was like, what another 2 years, of having to do it. So it really is just pot luck, isn't it? What doctor you get, what professional you get, and whereabouts you are in the country.
100%. And it's that having to wait again after waiting previously.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not right.
It really isn't. So how did you come about that? Did you, 25, you're pretty much a pure adult there, really, aren't you? So what has happened in those few years up to you going, right, I'm going to get diagnosed? Like, was people saying things to you, or was it just life getting too much?
Well, within all of my life, I always felt a little bit different. I want to say I felt a little bit different. But when I was in school, I was sort of all right until I started to get to about year 9, and then I started to just focus on the things that I really wanted to focus on. And I had some mental health struggles throughout my life as well.
Do you think your mental health struggles was linked to the ADHD as well, now looking back?
Emotional dysregulation was actually a big part of ADHD, and I didn't know that until I was diagnosed. But as I was sort of growing up, it felt like I was behind all of the people that were my age mates. So everyone that was the same age as me, I felt like I just wasn't growing at the same sort of pace.
Wow,
and that was something that I said for a lot of my 20s. And then when more sort of information about women with ADHD came to light, my family were like, this sounds very similar to yourself, Lauren. And I also obviously did my own research, and I was like, this does sort of make sense. And that's when I started my diagnosis journey. And it felt like the more information that came out, I felt seen, and I didn't feel so alone. I feel like a lot of that feeling was me feeling alone, because I didn't know what was going on with me. But now I sort of get to understand a little bit more about ADHD and how it impacts my everyday life. I can sort of forgive myself more, and I never used to be able to do that, because I think that's where my emotional dysregulation did come from, a lot of non-self-forgiveness. But now I feel like I can forgive myself, and also tell other people around me what's going on a little bit more. And I feel like that's such a positive, because it has really changed my relationship dynamics, both with family, friends. I'm in a really positive relationship. It's just, I feel like I'm able to communicate about myself, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. I think that's really powerful. You saying that you felt seen, you felt heard. Like, it's such a powerful thing, isn't it? And a lot of people will think, oh, well, it's like a vain thing, you know, like you must be a bit full of yourself. But it really isn't. When you're ADHD, autistic, dyslexic, like you say, you're always behind. You're like a wallflower. You're hidden, aren't you? So to be 25 and all of a sudden feel something that people have probably felt their whole lives, that's really powerful.
Exactly that. And I feel like in a lot of my life as well, I've always picked up hobbies. I've always just gone from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And for me, I was like, why can't I just stick at something? Why do I then go on to the next thing? But actually learning about ADHD and about, you know, dopamine and hyperfixations, it has really made me think, oh, okay, so that does make sense. That's something as well that I've sort of myself for. But I've been in pageantry for 2 years. I think it's my longest ever hobby.
And do you feel that you're getting those dopamine hits from being in the pageants, that's why you're sticking to it?
I feel like I get such happiness from helping other people. And part of pageantry is speaking about a course that you're passionate about. So when I started talking about ADHD, I was doing it online before I was in a pageant. But then being part of pageants actually helped me grow my confidence, and I was able to public speak, and that for me meant so much that I could then share with other people. And to know, like I was saying about feeling alone, and I just wanted to help other people that were in that similar situation. I didn't want anyone to go through what I'm going through. Obviously, I know that a lot of people, you know, have gone through similar situations, but as well, it's about helping the current generation and the next generation know the knowledge of that personal experience and know where to go.
Yes, definitely. We can't prevent people going through it, but like you say, if we can support them, encourage them, you know, just be a gentle hand to guide them on the way, that, you know, that's all we can do, isn't it?
100%. And I've had people within my community message me or speak to me and say that it's really helped them. And I'm an ambassador for ADHD UK. So
fantastic.
When I first got diagnosed, I actually found their website first. And so many resources on their website. They have support groups. There was so much available to sort of, from being diagnosed to then not really knowing what's next, to then having that support on that website and in that space was really helpful.
Do you take medication, or do you manage yourself just through your lifestyle?
So I was on Concerta, which is a stimulant medication. It was very good for my focus. I felt really, really good on it. But then it started to hurt my stomach.
Yes.
And it was like I had to choose between the medication helping with my ADHD or my physical health. And I didn't want to be in that situation. So then I went back to the doctors, and I'm still waiting now for my next sort of call. I did try that a couple of times as well, because I thought, oh, this might just be one-time thing, you know. And then I tried it again for a period of time, and I just thought, no, I need to have my medication changed because there's something that's not quite right.
My middle son was on that medication, and that was 15 years ago. So there really wasn't that much out there, you know, for me to be able to, as a parent, get that education to be able to help him. So I used to make him a massive breakfast in the morning and force it down him almost before he had his medication. He wouldn't eat all day. He wouldn't really want his tea when he got home. So then I'd have to make a big bowl of like roast pudding or some porridge or something like that at night time. And it broke my heart as a mum, seeing him lose all of this weight. And it's so difficult, because it's either you give them the medication and stays in mainstream school, or it could be detrimental, you know, to their health. I never gave him his meds on weekends and through school holidays. And we did get into a nice routine where we didn't lose the weight. But that really is a nasty side effect, isn't it?
100%. When I first started taking Concerta, I had no appetite whatsoever.
And
then when I, obviously because of my stomach issues, I come off with the medication, and straight away it was back, and I thought, oh, that's quite interesting actually. Because I'd never sort of experienced that before. I absolutely love food, so
definitely, that's like one of the dopamine pleasures of the world, isn't it? The best one.
At the moment, I'm on you know, dairy milk, the white Oreo bar.
Oh yeah. With a cup of tea. Are you a dipper?
Yeah, I love cup of
Yeah.
tea and I love to dip the chocolate.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to do this whole sugar-free January because everybody else was doing no alcohol January, and I don't drink, you know, so it wasn't really a challenge for me. I must have lasted about a week before I was so obsessed by biscuits. It got to about 8 o'clock one evening, and I said to my partner, I said, I'm off to the shop to go and get some custard creams. And he laughed. He thought I was joking. He went, "You're really going, aren't you?" I went, "Yes, I cannot do this." It was impossible.
Yeah, I completely understand that. It'll get to like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like, you know what, I could really do with that dairy milk bar right now. And then I just go.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, they know me really well around the sweet shop.
Yes, exactly. And why not? You're not smoking, you're not drinking, you're not, medicating through recreational drugs. So we're allowed a custard cream or a Cadbury's bar, aren't we?
Exactly.
So during your pageant, I imagine you've got to do an awful lot with your makeup, fake tan, skincare regimes. You do have to aesthetically look just as good as you are, a beautiful person on the inside as well. Just talk us through that regime with, like, maybe if you've got ADHD sensory issues, are there certain makeups that you can stick with, or, how does that look for you?
100%. So with me, I can't, when I'm doing my makeup, sometimes I get it done professionally, which is absolutely incredible, but then sometimes I'll do my makeup myself, especially when going to events. I want to make sure I feel my best self, and I feel like when I am feeling my best self and most confident, I'm dressed as well as I am the inside.
Yeah.
It's not about the outside.
Do you feel like it's a mask for you when we talk about masks within ADHD?
All of my life, I have been interested in makeup, and I've always felt like when I wore certain styles of makeup, I felt like it was a mask, but it helped me feel my most confident self when going out into the world. Now with pageants, it is all about the advocacy and how you make that change. But obviously there is a part of the pageants where we are on stage, and I absolutely love getting my makeup done, but I also love doing it myself still. So some of the products, I actually use really random products sometimes. It's because I don't like sensory smells.
Smells, exactly.
Or something that is smelling, really, what's the word for when something's really strong, like very strong, that can then actually like make my brain go in a different direction. You would never think that, from the outside, you would never think that, but I do.
I hate the feeling of like a liquid foundation, because when you pop it on your skin, it's cold, and I hate that sensation of that coldness. And even if it's been in a warm bathroom, it still feels cold when you put it on. Like, I just, don't like a silly thing like that.
That literally happened to me today. So when I was putting my makeup on, honestly, because the weather's quite cold as well, which makes the makeup quite cold. And let's say your makeup bag is in a cold room, then that makeup is going to be cold, and that can be putting it on your skin, but also touching it to open like bronzers and stuff. It's a similar thing, and it actually, you know what? I didn't even think of it like that, and I've just realised That's
I can't do liquid foundations. I don't mind a powder, but I have to make sure that my skin's super oily underneath. So I'll make sure I wear a face oil, because I hate then the feeling of powder then sticking to my skin. Like, if I can feel it on my face, it's going to really, really agitate me. But I love like a thick SPF that's got like a mineral tint to it. I wear that every day. That's my absolute favourite thing to put on.
I can't remember the brand, but there was it was called like a sea cream, I think, and I think that's
yeah. I know what you mean.
Love that in the summer.
Yeah.
And if there's a lot of like, I know I might look like I've got quite a bit of makeup on at the moment.
I like gorgeous.
Thank you. I do like to use products that sort of sit well with my skin. So then if I do like sort of, because I'll be thinking about it during the day, if I touch my face, is that then gonna move, gonna feel like not very nice?
No, exactly.
I do like to choose products, and they're very random products as well. They're from I've got products that I've used for years. I can't even think of the name of the certain brands of them now, but I've just used the same things. I've also used some recently I've used some products actually from Primark. When you wouldn't think that
their range is getting quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, and they do this bronzer, and it's really nice on the skin. It's not too heavy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
but it makes like it looks really nice on the skin. So.
On yours, yeah. You've got lovely, plump, smooth skin. I mean, I'm sure if we just went and put horse manure on there, you'd look absolutely gorgeous. Definitely. So after you've done your pageant and you're getting ready to go home, what does your skincare regime look like on a night time, having to remove all of that?
Well, usually at this point, it's been like a 12-hour day and I am absolutely shattered. But I like to use, have you ever heard of CeraVe?
I have, yes, yeah.
I also have E45 face like moisturizer.
Yeah, all very simple brands, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and actually saying simple's another one that I have as well.
Yes.
But I like to use E45 because I do have like quite dry patches on my face. So in my eyebrow, just in the one, there's a bit of like a drier patch, and then I also get that on my forehead and sometimes on my cheeks. I just get a little bit of dryness, you know. And using E45 has been really helpful for me because it doesn't smell too much either, so it's like
and there's no stinging to it. It's got like a nice feeling on your hands where you're not getting that horrible stickiness. So it makes me just peel my skin off now, the thought of it. So it's meant to be a nice conversation, this. No, they're really nice brands. What about day to day? Do you do your skincare routine every day, or do you sometimes have big burnouts and just miss it?
So I will be completely honest. Sometimes I do miss it because if I'm having one of the days, like even though I've been diagnosed with ADHD, I'm also Lauren as well. Like there's ADHD over days off, but I'm also Lauren. Sometimes I have days where I just completely burn out. Just because I feel like as well, just to say as well, being diagnosed with ADHD doesn't mean that it just is a fix, you know. It's just
no way.
It's like every day can be different. So I have some days where I do miss out completely on skincare, but when I am feeling good, and I like to try and make sure that I do my routine as much as I can. I usually use the simple products. I've been using them for quite a while. When I actually had really bad acne when I was in my, I want to say I was about 17 years old. I think it might have been from stress as well. On my cheeks especially. I had acne for a while.
Being 17 and coming out at the other end of your high school, it's probably all that stress that you've pent up, and then all of a sudden it's just released in your body, isn't it?
Exactly that. And I had to have steroid cream from the doctor with this. And then I started to use simple products. So I've always used simple because I feel like it's not too much on the skin, and it's quite it's still quite a light feel, which is why my late 20s, I'm still using the products. And like I said about the E45, on the days where I do get that dryness, especially in the winter, I like to use E45.
And there's no moisture in the air, we just need that little bit extra.
Exactly.
Fridays are my burnout days. So Friday's the day that I allow myself just to crash, and I'm exactly the same. I say to myself, if you don't want to wash your face tonight or brush your teeth, you don't have to. So there's nothing wrong in having to admit that. I'm exactly the same.
I feel like as well, it's like giving yourself some forgiveness and grace on the days where this does happen, and then on the days when you're feeling positive, it's always nice to treat yourself day with like a spa day and things. But on the everyday, I do try to moisturize my skin as much as I can, just because I do get that dryness as well. As soon as I go outside, I feel it. You feel it, and I'm like, no, need to make sure that I'm moisturising.
So our skin, it really is a window of what's happening inside our bodies. So usually when our skin starts to tell us that something's, not balanced, that means something inside's not balanced. So it might be worth, looking at your gut health and things like that as well to, coincide with your E45, so you're getting it from both angles, really.
That's a really good idea, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure I consume lots of chocolate, lots of sweets.
Yes, sugar is the worst for our gut health. I just tried to stick to one custard cream instead of the whole packet, Skin, sugar, skin. It's the worst. So what does the future look like for you with your ADHD? Do you feel real positive that your ADHD? Because I always treat my ADHD like it's an extra personality, and I've really learned who that ADHD is. Do you think we're all positive going forward?
That's exactly what I was meaning by, like, there's ADHD and then there's also
exactly.
And it's like I am learning how to live every day with ADHD and learning coping mechanisms that work individually for myself. Now, I'm very much aware that it might not work for each and every individual, but for myself and knowing myself and spending time trying to learn more about myself as well, I've come to learn about how ADHD can impact my everyday life. Obviously, sometimes in situations you might not always see it straight away. But I've learned how to. I wouldn't say I've learned how to manage it completely because that would be a lie. Every day is different. But going forward, I feel like I know so much more about who I am and standing up for others that are in similar situations. For me, speaking about ADHD and my lived experience, whether that be a positive day, not so great day, means a lot because you never know who's on the other side of the screen. You never know who's going to be listening or who you're going to be helping.